Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week NoSleep Podcast. Today we have our favorite guest, Brian, in here. I'm very happy to have him. And also, of course, I have our lovely team, Max, in here. So, yes, let's jump into this week's question. I'm very happy, Brian, you're in here. Please introduce yourself.
Thanks, Popple. Thanks for having me. Good to see you too, Matt. So I'm Brian. I'm a digital illustrator based in Chicago. Kind of like, a lot of artists, lifelong creator, been drawing since as long as I can hold a pencil, and never really stopped. I had a long, illustrious career in advertising and marketing and consulting that, got to push my creative chops. But a couple years ago, I kind of stepped away from all that, and thanks to Web3, has made art my focus. So I get to draw all day, every day, and it's pretty incredible. And just to be inspired by so many other great creatives in space, and to have a unique voice inside of it is pretty special. So it's a magical time.
Your artwork really epitomizes this glossy feel, this glossy light and juicy color, and you say that right on your website there. But what inspired you to create this signature glass style of yours?
It was actually kind of happened by accident. I grew up drawing cars and hot rods, and like I'm a car guy. I restore cars as a hobby.
Yeah, I saw that.
And my whole family is like car guys. And so I was always drawing like lowriders and hot rods, and they always had a lot of chrome and glossy candy paint and metal flake, and so just years of doing that, I kind of got a sense of like how to draw reflections, and I was actually working on my friend Mitch asked me to do a version of his Bored Ape. I was going to give it like a candy paint job, and I turned off one of my color layers, and it was just the highlights and shadows that were showing, and it looked like glass. I was like, wow, like I could draw anything in this thing. And I'd played with some glass techniques before, but like that was the moment where I was like, you know what? Like if I lean into this and just try to focus on this for a little bit, I bet I could take it to some interesting places. And here we are a couple years later, and I'm still discovering new ways to kind of push the technique and new subjects to explore with it. It's kind of it's an endless kind of possibility to see inside of just about anything.
Totally. And it's always fun to hear how something came about by accident. And I think it's really inspiring because it says a lot about having an open mind, and it says a lot about seeing the opportunity in something that you do not expect. So I appreciate that answer. And I know that Papa wants to talk about one of her favorite collections. So do you want to ask about that?
I actually have two favorite collection, but let's just jump to my most favorite one is the eyes. I've been like keep talking about the eyes because every time you point it out, you're posting out, it's always surprise me because you're doing a lot of different series. You're doing like animation, you're doing the glass style, you also even use that into AI. It's a lot of things going on, and I even see you how you have to have fun to doing the same drawing with your daughter and bring it to Recon, and I feel that's something maybe special, important for you. I just want to ask, like, what's inspired you to create this collection?
Well, when I would start to draw a character, I would always start with the eyes. Like I would kind of break the rules of like usually you're supposed to draw like a head shape and like center line and all. I would just start with the eyes. I don't know why, and so I don't know. I kind of built upon that, and eyes are they're not just a window into the soul, but like they actually one of the most expressive things from a human trait standpoint. And so you can say just about anything with a couple very simple eyes. And so that really kind of led me into like just investigating that in a bunch of different ways. And I use that collection that you're talking about as almost like a playground. And they started one way many months ago, and now they're very different, and a few months from now they'll be different again, but there's just this consistent through line, and they kind of change with my mind and my attitude and what I'm interested in. They're just kind of they're really kind of my vessel to just pour new ideas into.
Yeah, I see your daughters also inspire you to doing the new collection as well. It's like it's such a fun to do with the family. So other collection I would like you to talk about. You just mentioned about the gas A. I'm also the Bot A community fan of everything what you does, and yeah, I would like you to share with us about the walking process, how you get into the journey, and also I know you've been success to sold out all the collection, and I do love to hear about the story how you start to be collaboration and how you create the whole collection and how you sold out.
Yeah. Well, there's been a couple Glass Ape collections, and I do them on commission as well. So they started as commissions, you know. I had done one for Mitch, like I said, that was the first one, and I was actually kind of reluctant to do it. I was like, derivative work is always kind of, some people like it, some people don't. But I just fell in love with, creating something new from somebody's IP, and them being able to kind of experience the thing that they've invested so much into, and build some brand around, like, they get to see it in a whole new light and enjoy it in a new way. And so I kind of got addicted to that, in doing them for people. And sometimes people would request things. Sometimes we'd collaborate on what might be inside of their ape. And sometimes it was just up to my pure imagination. And it just led to like kind of building this kind of movement of glass apes. So much so that ultimately did a collection with the Ape DAO. We did I think it was a 500 piece collection.
500.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I got the season 2, like the series 2, and it's very amazing. And I love the one of the image you create with the like a fish tank, have a goldfish inside. This is amazing. It's totally blew my mind. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the response to them has just been amazing. Even people that aren't fans of the Bored Apes, they still really love these works. And I think they're different. They're interesting. Like, you see a lot of derivative work out there, but I think some of the best ones, it feels like something completely different. You recognize it, but it's like a whole new take on it. And so I've really enjoyed being able to push the style and seeing where we can take apes into a new way. Yeah.
Exactly. So everything about the community, and also I'm so glad you can put a lot of creativity and culture into this collection. This is something I've been building, and also I love to see maybe in the future you could build more. And yeah, I know you have other question you want to ask Brian.
Yeah, totally. The commission piece is something really cool. I used to be a lot more active in one of the collections that I hold, Forgotten Runes, and there's a lot of folks that are holders that they love their original IP, they love their PFP, but they want to like expand the boundaries of their particular asset, and then reach out to artists such as yourself and such as others in general that really focus on a specific type of artwork, so that they can kind of create a new way of conveying or portraying their asset that they find so familiar. So I did have a chance to look at a lot of your commissions, and I think they're amazing. Do you have one that you that maybe that's your favorite, or do you have maybe like someone's PFP that you would really like to do at some point?
Yeah, I definitely have. Well, each one's unique and different, right? Like, as soon as I finish one, that's my favorite one, is usually how it goes. But there's one gentleman actually commissioned 5 apes. I love them. But 3 of them were the original ape, and then an M1 and an M2 version of it. And we did all 3 of them as one image, which was just like it. I had to invent new ways of working to make it happen because of like file size restrictions, and I do everything on an iPad, so it's kind of limited in terms of like file size and how much you can really pack into something.
Yeah.
So that one was incredible because he just gave me complete control. He's like, these are the 3. We spent months kind of talking about it before I actually pulled the trigger to do it. He kind of had to talk me into it. But that one, being able to draw the same ape in different states and have it tell kind of a story, I had DMT skin and all the stuff. Like that one was really wild. That was a lot of fun. I don't know that I'll do that again. That might be one time only.
I think it's a very
amazing.
interesting. You're very bringing the point about the IP development, because now on this stage, you gotta definitely develop a lot of the IP, more than ever, so like more than 300 brand already. But you could see artists do involve big part of the deliver art, and also you could see how much you can create based on the IP. Yeah, this is something very unique, and I really hope I can see your artwork more in the future. And like what you say, you don't know will you do it again, but what you does is amazing. I just want to appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much, Popple.
Yeah. And after this, I'm going to look at those apes again, just to, get more of the vibe too. Yeah. So I did have a question about your extensive experience in digital agencies. I saw that you have many years, like 25 years in digital agencies, and you left that, as you alluded to a couple minutes ago, leading into the podcast, and you took the plunge, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just curious, what made you take this leap of faith, and for your fellow creators who are reluctant to take the similar leap, what would you say to them?
So as much as I took the plunge and it was a leap of faith, like I just couldn't do what I was doing anymore. Without going like too far into the rabbit hole. I worked my way up from like a digital illustrator working second shift, during high school at a clip art company, worked my way up to becoming a chief creative officer in a national agency, and running teams all over the globe, and, doing some pretty, I was really happy and impressed with the work the teams were doing, but I was not happy. Like, all of that grinding for 25 years, very proud of the work, very proud of the people that I got to learn so much from, but I was really kind of empty inside, at the end of the day. It didn't satisfy me. And so I just decided one day that I was done. Like, if I kept doing what I was doing, sure, there's probably new levels of success, but I was learning there were new levels of emptiness that came with each climb of the rung. So yeah, just kind of let go of the corporate ladder, pretty high up, and has been a free fall into art ever since. So any advice I would give is build a safety net. All those years of grinding in agencies, kind of saving some money on the side, so that when it was time to do what I wanted to do, I had a little bit of a net to catch me. And I'm surrounded by, really supportive family as well. My wife, she runs her own catering business that it started as a passion project, turned into a small thing, and now she's got a couple employees. So like helping her and seeing her turn her passion into something that, is now her job and her future. That was also really inspiring to say, I've gained all these skill sets over the years, and we're in a position that we can be okay for a little while if I don't earn a living. That gave me the confidence to make the step, to take the plunge, to say, I'm not going to solve these problems anymore. I'm going to focus on making something amazing.
Awesome.
Amazing. That's really inspirational. And you're probably way happier now. You probably sleep much better now. And you probably have much more of a creative brain. Who knows?
Oh, I mean, you can't tell in this light, but my hair from like here down is from when I was in agency, and it's much grayer than from here up. Like my hair is I'm actually beginning to look younger, believe it or not. I look like Santa Claus right now. But the last couple of years, yeah, my stress levels are way down. And to your point, like I truly believe that as a creative, you have to be open, and you have to, look for those. Like we were talking about the glass style before, it kind of happened by accident. Yep. And I was open to that happening, and and so I really, just to make a visual of it, like when I sit down to create something new, I try to just clear a space in my mind, like almost like a meditative practice where like just a big clearing where I have a big amount of time that is mine. Nobody else is going to ask anything of it. I don't have any responsibilities that I need to take care of at the moment. And I just let whatever's going to happen, and just be open and available for the idea to manifest, or the work to go in a new direction. And when you're working 80 hours a week, that you can't literally clear the area to make that happen. It takes for me it took a few months of not working like a dog to find that. And once I found it, it was like, oh my gosh, I got to protect this clearing at all costs, which means saying no to a lot of opportunities that arise. Popple's offered so many times to do so many different things. I'm like, I just can't. And it's not because I don't want to do things, but it's like, I know what that means for the rest of my practice,
Right.
Well,
Right.
it's very good suggestion. Like, what's your opinion? I think it's very good kind of like an insight infos to everyone, because I feel like a lot of the artists, they may focus on they all need to focus on life living. They wasn't have much time for creative. I think it's very good. You keep some time for yourself. So that's totally understanding. And also I can see you definitely create your own style by the time you just kind of chill. And I wish I have at that time too. But at the same time, I feel like it's also great. As a NoSleep Podcast, we really want to spotlight for resumes artists like you, and we want to feature what you're doing, and also want to share your story in a bit higher. Now I can a little bit know you more and understand more why you're making those decisions. And I feel I'm so glad to know you a little bit more, even by now. Yeah.
I mean, I've known you for years, Popple, and this is the amazing thing about this space. Like, you get to know somebody, and over the course of years, you get to know them more and more and more. And I can't. In a decade from now, I can't imagine what we're going to know about each other.
Well, we've been long-term friends, so we try to lead longer as possible. Yeah. Yeah. So Matt, will you have we want to continue the question?
Yeah, definitely. But one thing that you kind of sparked my brain about a couple, like you mentioned about, kind of like saying yes and saying no, etc. Is if you continue to say yes to everyone else, you're saying no to yourself, and you won't give yourself the time that you need to be creative or to do anything that you would find valuable. And that's just, across the board. So it takes a wise person to know when and how to say no to others so that you can say yes to yourself. And I guess my final question for you is, before I get into this, it's awesome chatting with you. I really, really enjoyed connecting. How can our community learn about you, and how can our community follow you?
Twitter is still the best thing. So I'm a little too active on Twitter, probably. Just got onto Threads, which is interesting. We'll see where that goes. And then my website is brianmorris.art. And I have a Discord that fluctuates in activity, but that's brianmorris.wtf. And we hang out in there a lot. I do a little behind the scenes on some things that I'm working on. And I have a few projects that are really only available to Discord members, and allow them to actually, I live stream with them, and they get to see the whole process. And so that's the place to really engage deeply. But if you're just looking to hang out and see what's happening, Twitter's the spot.
Nice. Thanks, Brian. So Popple, that's all I have. Right back to you.
Great. So I do have a last question I want to ask you. What's the project you're working on, or the future project you're working on?
Well, I actually just wrapped up a really big one that I did for a client. And so I'm taking a little bit of a breather, and really this next month or so, just, focusing on drawing more eyes, doing a lot of those. I'm working on something for a beverage company that everybody knows and loves, and you'll see that on retail shelves maybe by the end of the year. And I got a couple other like projects on the side, but those are drawing more eyes and finishing this retail project are the big ones, and just kind of regrouping. I'm taking the family to Utah here in a couple days for like 10 days of like no, we're gonna have electricity and plumbing, but that's like no connectivity. It's gonna be amazing.
No screens.
Yeah, I love Utah. It's so amazing. Hope you have a great trip in there. And just want to thank you again today and come to join our podcast. It's amazing to just have a chat with you. And I hope you see you soon again in somewhere. And keep creating and love you.
Love you too, Papa. Good to see you, Matt. I'll talk to you guys soon.